Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the last starting 11 of the Premier League season, but we've got one more because Liverpool are in the Champions League final with Tottenham Hotspur. I'm still flying about it. I'm sure everybody at home, you are still absolutely buzzing about that. If you still haven't filled your boots with all post-match sort of Barcelona content, everything building up to the Champions League final that we've done so far, head on over to redmentv.com. We've got final words, man of the matches. We've just done a newsroom with Steve Hall that's just gone out about an hour ago talking about the game and how we feel about Spurs in the final. Fill your boots because what a time to be alive, eh? What a time to be alive. But first and foremost, before we get on to that game, we've got to send our Premier League season out with a bang against Wolverhampton Wanderers. It could be 2 trophies coming home this season. And, you know, it's not down to us anymore. It's down to whether City can or Brighton can help us out against City. But all we can do in this game, go and do the business, go and smash Wolves across the park, finish as high as we can on that 97 points, and hopefully Brighton can do us a favour. But this is my team to face Wolverhampton Wanderers. We'll get into it, of course. Alisson Becker, what a performance he had against Barcelona last night. You know, any player on that pitch could have been man of the match, but Alisson made 4 or 5 crucial saves to keep us in that game. Said before on my Barcelona starting 11 show, he had to have a blinder. And by God, did he give us a blinder, you know. 37 appearances this season, this will be his last one. Hasn't missed a game because he's been so instrumental. Only 22 goals conceded. I think we've got the same clean sheets as City, so I don't know if that's good. What happens if you both get if both teams have equal clean sheets? Do you split the glove?
It'd be least goals conceded, but we're actually both on 22 goals conceded
what I mean.
at the minute as well, so maybe they share it.
Hey, there we go.
Or you just give it to Alisson because he's a nicer guy.
Yeah, there you go. He's the nicer Brazilian. He starts above Edison for Brazil. Why not? But he's had a fantastic season. Cannot sing his plaudits enough. It's 1.88 saves per 90 because he doesn't have to make that many because he's so good. But when he's called upon, he's amazing. 4.55 long passes per 90 and 17.48 short passes. Look at that accuracy. Short passes across 37 games in the Premier League. It's not dropped below 98%. That's phenomenal. That's absolutely unheard of. And you know, I can sing his praises all day, his saves, his long passes, his short passes, but you know what, we don't have to. We don't have to because we'll talk about all of that, this whole team and more once the season is finished. But Alisson sticks in goal against Wolves behind the first of our defenders, Simon.
Sorry.
My goodness. Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know. Oh, what I would have done to have him in the first leg against Barcelona, you know. He was so good against Barcelona at home. Again, there's so many players in this team that I could sit here and go on and on for ages about how fantastic they are, but he's got to be singled out as the shining light of this season. I think he's been a revelation. Who would have thought Trent Alexander-Arnold 2 years ago was going to be the linchpin, not in just a defensive sense, but an attacking sense. 11 assists in the Premier League this season. That's record-breaking numbers alongside Andy Robertson, and we need him against Wolves. You know, we need his tenacity, we need his drive on that right-hand side. We'll give you a spoiler, Salah is said to be fit for the Wolves game, so we need his chemistry with Mo Salah on that right-hand side and to just light it up. I want to send this season out in style, and I want Trent at the heart of that attack. And 58.49 passes per 90, 5.14 crosses per 90. Jesus, and his crossing is absolutely phenomenal. And 4.95 interceptions per 90. His defensive game has been criticised in the past. Thought he was superb against Barcelona at home. Don't think he put a foot wrong at all. And I think he was such a strong case. I think he actually won the poll for man of the match on the man of the match show at the redmentv.com. But yeah, what a guy. Can't wait to see him next season. But send this season out with a bang, Trent. We love you. But we'll get on to his centre-back partner playing next to him, Joel Matip. Another guy you could have said 2 years ago, how would he have reached these heights? You know, just show me the blueprint on how you build Joel Matip up to the level he's at right now, because he is flawless. He's been superb ever since he's come into this team. And him and Van Dijk, if we don't sign a centre-half this summer, so long as he maintains that level and Joe Gomez is there as a reliable backup or a reliable level, whether we can interchange the two, not a problem. You know what? Because I don't think the guy can do any more for this club than what he's doing right now. Only 21 appearances, 68.72 passes per 90, 90% of them are accurate. 7.31 defensive duels, 5.9 aerial duels, and 1.41 interceptions per 90. And he made the best player in the world, Lionel Messi, look like a nobody at Anfield the other night. He was so on his game. It's so on his game. And you know what? I've become to really, really love Joel Matip. I've become to love every single one of these starting 11 players, if this entire club, in fact. But Joel, you've been superb. I hope you have a fantastic end of the season. So Joel keeps his place alongside a guy who's already been awarded Van Dijk Players Award, PFA Player of the Award. what more can you say about him? You know, you don't need to hear it from me about how good Van Dijk is. 37 appearances this season, 72.08 passes per 90, over 90% of them accurate, 3.16 defensive duels, 6.62 aerial duels, and 5.67 interceptions. Van Dijk, best player in the league, bar none, and he's a centre half. That's how good Virgil van Dijk is, and you know what? He's only going to get better. He's only had a season and a half with us. Think about the heights he's going to reach. Think about how instrumental he's going to be in this Champions League final. I cannot wait to see more of Virgil van Dijk. So he, of course, keeps his place against Wolves alongside a guy who, this is a guy that I'm not sure will be fit, but I'm hoping, because this is my strongest 11, I'm thinking if he's fit, Klopp will play him, obviously, because we've got a big rest post this season for him to get fit and fire and ready for the Champions League final. But I can take your arguments for Milner. Put in the comments below, would you rest Robbo or would you play him? How important is this game to us now we're in the Champions League final? So let me know. But he's played 35 appearances this season, 13 assists, 24 in total between him and Trent. Record breakers. Nothing more you can say. Absolute record-breaking pair of fullbacks. 64.24 passes per 90, 4.48 crosses and 3.46 interceptions. I love Andy Robertson. He's become Liverpool's own sort of love child, because we just absolutely adore the guy. We adore his work ethic. We adore his back of the head slaps against Lionel Messi. He runs the game when he's on the pitch, and I really, really want to see him finish this season. I want to be able to give him a send-off. You know, whether we win the league or not, I wanted to show these players how much we appreciate the effort that they've put in this season. And Andy Robertson is, of course, topping that team sheet in terms of the effort he provides every single game. So we're hoping Robbo is fit. If not, Milner is fine. But we'll get into the midfield. Midfield that I think has been phenomenal. Fabinho, Tavares, what a performance he had against Barcelona, eh? The amount of challenges that he made on Messi, and you could say he pocketed him, that's fair, and I would agree, but Messi was very good in that game, and that's even more to Fabinho's credit to how well we made him look quiet. And I think he's been, again, a word of the day is revelation. He's been a revelation to our midfield. 27 appearances, 64.56 passes per 90, 7.23 defensive duels, not afraid to put a slide in. That challenge that he gets booked for on Messi, phenomenal tackle. Absolutely fantastic tackle. And, you know, if Barca are the masters of being shithouses and they're begging the ref for fouls, but it was a brilliant tackle. And that's what I love about Fabinho. He's brought an element to our midfield that we didn't have before. And that's just being ballsy, being brave, no-nonsense centre defensive midfielder. That's Fabinho Tavares, and I hope he starts this game, and I think he will. Alongside his other midfielders, Jordan Henderson. Again, Jordan Henderson, who's been, since the turn of, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, one of my favourite players in this team. The aggression, the energy, the drive, that desire that he shows, how much he wants to win a game when he scores a goal, when he assists. He just bleeds Liverpool Football Club, and he's had his stick over the last few years, but I think that's behind him now. I'm a true Henderson advocate, and I really, really hope we see him in this game to just as a captain. Imagine if he gets his hand on that trophy. Imagine if he gets his hand on that trophy. It would be unbelievable scenes. To all you people like Adam McCullough who said, imagine if he wins it. Shut up. 74.07 passes per 90, 6.79 long passes per 90, 6.75 defensive duels and 4.08 interceptions. He can defend, he can pass, he can attack, he can assist, he can score. What a complete midfielder Jordan Henderson's turned himself into, and I cannot be happier for the guy, because you know what, he tries his hardest, and now his effort is being reflected in the ability that he's giving back to the team. So Jordan Henderson keeps his place in midfield. Alongside the final midfielder, imagine this. When you don't play him up front, he scores 2 goals. When you play him in his natural, proper position, Klopp said he was his secret weapon, and now we can see potentially why he played him so far up front, because he has the belief that Gini Wijnaldum can get goals, and by God did he get goals against Barcelona. What a hero he is at the minute for Liverpool Football Club. 34 appearances in the league this season, 53.47 passes per 90, 4.46 defensive duels, 2.75 long passes and 3.3 interceptions per 90. It'd be interesting to see next season if he has more offensive stats, you know, as he slowly builds on his goals and assist tally, whether we change some of these stats to show more of his attacking side of the game. It'd be interesting to see with the signings we make where Gini's role remains at Liverpool Football Club in this midfield. But for now, he's a bang-on number 8, isn't he? An absolute bang-on number 8. Same as Jordan Henderson. He defends fantastically. He's the most press-resistant player at the club. Saw in that highlight reel. He drags about 3 Barcelona midfielders out, makes one turn and he's away. Such an intelligent guy on his game, and I really hope we see him in this game against Wolves, because he's part of our strongest 11 at the minute. I do truly believe that. So Gini keeps his place alongside the front 3. Now, he's fit, You saw him absolutely buzzing about the Champions League result, wearing his Never Give Up shirt. He was just, I can't wait to have him back. And we did fantastically. Imagine that. He wasn't in the team and we still beat Barcelona 4-0. Absurd. I'm really, really want him back in this team, though, against Wolves. I want him to see out this season in style. I think he's going to grab at least a goal against Wolves. He's going to have a point to prove. The whole team's going to be on a high. They're going to be buzzing. Salah's going to be chomping at the bit to get goals, to add to this 22-goal tally. He's going to want that golden boot. And it's tight. Same as Ederson and Alisson, Salah, Aguero, even Mane. It's all so tight up there. So Salah's going to be wanting a point to prove in this game. But what more can you say about the guy? 22 goals this season, 6.29 dribbles per 90, 14.74 offensive duels, which is absurd, and 3.54 shots per 90. After last season, people were saying, he's not going to replicate it again. He's done it in spades, and he had an off point. He had an off 8 to 10 weeks, and he's still here with 22 goals, topping the top goal scorer chart. He's proven everybody wrong, and I love Mo Salah, and I hope he ends this season off the way that he started it, and that was electrically. So Salah keeps his place on the right, comes back into the team on the right-hand side, now he's fit, alongside Sadio Mane, the guy who just has been injury-prone this season. Touch wood, I think he's going to be absolutely fine. I think that he's properly steered the ship, hasn't he? Once we missed Bobby and when we missed Salah, we needed that experienced head, that just the ability that Mane has to coach Divock, to coach Shaqiri, and just into sort of how our front three works in that 4-2-3 formation. And he's been unbelievable this season. He's had the best season he's ever had in the Premier League in terms of goals and assists contributed. 35 appearances, 20 goals, only 2 behind Mo. 6.25 dribbles per 90, 10.62 offensive duels, and 2.37 shots. Again, cannot say any more about Sadio Mane. He's absolutely electric. I think Salah will score, and I think Mane will score at the weekend because, again, going for that golden boot, it's going to be an intense, nice to watch race between these two guys, and hopefully one of them comes out on top. But to finish the 11, obviously no Bobby Firmino, so it's got to be my man, Divock Origi. 2 goals against Barcelona. Who'd have thought it? And it's a weird one. Divock Origi's so weird because he's tall, he's strong, he's powerful, he's fast, he's good with his feet. He's got all the attributes to be a really good striker, but obviously he got held back for a while by injury and potentially just lack of confidence. But I've heard that he's going to be awarded a new contract with Liverpool Football Club because of the sort of the desire and the ability that he's shown since he's come back into the team, and I'm all for that. As a backup striker, Divock Origi's phenomenal. Wolves, it was touted that Wolves would take him as their main striker. That's how good Divock Origi's been this season. So I cannot sing his praises enough. I'm absolutely fine with him being in this team. Let me know. I've got Mane on the left, Divock up front. Would you switch it? Or, controversy, would you change him for a Daniel Sturridge? I don't think so. I learnt my lesson from last week. Daniel Sturridge doesn't need to be in this team. We can get the job done without him. He's probably going to go at the end of the season. Not a problem. But Divock Origi, only 11 appearances this season, but goals against Newcastle, that goal against Everton. He's such a big game player when we need him, and an excellent plan B. 3 goals, 7.83 dribbles per 90, 12.78 offensive duels, and 2.87 shots. Big Div, gets in that number 9, and I think he's going to do the business against Wolves. So we'll show you the full team now, and the formation, of course. I think this probably is our strongest 11 at the minute. Obviously, Bobby Firmino being injured, we can't really change that. Salah back in on the right, Mane keeps his place. Standard sort of midfield now that I think is our strongest midfield on paper at the minute. Naby Keita was getting into form, but sadly got injured, and hopefully we'll see him for the final, but I don't think we will because it got announced that he was probably not going to make the African Cup of Nations. But current players available, I think that's our best midfield. Trent keeps his place, Matip keeps his place, Van Dijk, what a unit they are. Robbo, if he's fit, comes back into the team. Maybe Milner if not, and Alisson in goal. But that's my starting 11 for Wolves. Let me know, what would you change? What are you thinking about the game? How are you feeling? Do we rest potentially going into the Champions League final? Do we want to risk anything now we know we've got to play a tough opposition like Spurs? Let me know right now. What are the people saying, Si?
Jason Cox says, I could see Brewster come on for his first match if we go up a few on them. You can't risk his inexperience from the jump. But would love to see him make his first appearance this season. Absolutely, mate. I completely agree. It'd be nice, and even Oxlade-Chamberlain if he's fit. These faces that look so promising. We saw a little bit of Ox, and he did look match fit. Obviously, got held back a little bit with his muscle strain. But Brewster I'm sure everyone has seen the sort of the post video when everyone's in the changing room. His energy, he just looks so happy to be in this Liverpool team, and we need that. Guys that are passionate, that are raring to get on the pitch, and I completely agree with you. Say the miracle happens and we go through
adrenaline pumps and we flatten Wolves 3-0 by the 60th minute, I would have no problems putting a Ryan Brewster on just to experience what it's like to be in this colossal team at Anfield with all these fans singing his name. It would be amazing for the guy. So I completely agree with you, mate. If we do it and we do get a good enough buffer, I don't see why not.
Another comment from Jason Cox actually says, rest Robbo for sure. Milner can put in a shift. Fabinho has been in tremendous form.
Yep.
Not to mention Hendo has excelled tracking back with that work rate.
Yep.
Get him healthy for Spurs.
Yeah, not a problem there at all, mate. I think, thinking about it now, it's probably more likely that we do see Milner because he's so important. You know, it's a Champions League final. I think we can get by through Wolves with this team. James Milner's he's not a drop. It's not like you put in Alberto Moreno and just completely risking this side of the defence. James Milner's an absolutely fine defender. Would have no problems whatsoever with him playing this game. And you're right, if there was even a 1% chance that Andy Robertson could further injure himself, bench him, because he will be so crucial in our Champions League final in Madrid. So I completely agree with you, mate. Take your point very well. What else have we got?
Michael Sutton says, imagine all the effort the midfield will put in, whether they start or come on against Wolves now the Champions League final's been booked. Yeah,
that's exactly my point about Brewster, mate. This team's going to be elated. They're going to be flying. The adrenaline's going to be there. You know, there's still a chance that we could win the league if Brighton do something special. You know, City don't have that. What's the next step that we do? You know, our season doesn't end at this game. Our season's only just begun now. We've got the biggest peak in European football of the Champions League final to go towards, and these guys are going to be putting a staple on being on the first name on the team sheet in that Champions League final. You know, this midfield has been up for debate. You know, with James Milner and Naby Keita at times. Obviously, Keita's injured, but there are positions on this pitch where we have changed a little. So that team that starts against Wolves, they're not going to want to put a foot wrong. They're going to want to show the absolute best that they can do to say, play me in the Champions League final. I deserve to start in Madrid. So completely agree with your point, mate. I think whatever team we field, they're going to give 110% because that's just the emotions of the fans, the club, and the players right now. Everyone's just on cloud nine, and I think we're going to see a cloud nine-like performance against Wolves. What else have we got?
So we've just got two more comments. So first one's a super chat from DXSH Tempers.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks very much. He says, is Firmino defo out or is he a maybe? I would love to see Divock start after the Barca performance. Love the vids, boys, up the Reds. Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate that. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Si, I think we definitely probably won't see Bobby, will we?
I think it's unlikely, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. There's nothing that's been, like with Salah today, it came out and he said he has had a medical check, he's fine, he can play, he's cleared to play against Wolves. I think with Bobby, it was a tiny muscle strain / tear in his ankle or his calf or his heel, which obviously we then chose to play him against Barcelona, and I imagine that's just angered and sort of affected that area a little bit, so it's pushed his time to recover back a little. But I'm the same with Robertson and from the comment earlier. If we need to rest Robbo and Bobby, we can get by with Divock Origi up front. We can get by with James Milner at left back. They're absolutely fine replacements. So for me, I'd rather rest Bobby because he's going to be so important in that final. You know, as much as Divock Origi's a fantastic play, I'd love to have him as an option off the bench. You saw against Spurs against Ajax, they bought Llorente on. They couldn't deal with Llorente. He was just brought on to win second balls, and Ajax it threw Ajax for 6. So I'd love to keep our front three against Spurs in the final and use Origi as that impact sub. So I would rest Bobby, but if anything comes out about his fitness, keep an eye on the Redmen TV's Twitter, at the Redmen TV, and we'll let you know all of the updates regarding the potential team for the weekend. What we got for last?
So we've got the last one. Hopefully it's a nice little way to end the final Premier League start 11 prediction. Eric Forbes says, if you had to choose one player to score the winning goal for the league, who would you choose?
Who do you think I'm going to pick, Si?
Does his name begin with an O?
His surname does.
Yeah.
This man right here. I didn't get, you can't see it very well, but I've got a tattoo of his name on my leg right here. I did not get his name for any reason other than he scored against Everton. He's coming clutch against bloody Newcastle to win us the game, clutch against Barcelona to win us the game, and it would be so poetic if he could finish this season scoring a goal. And you know what, out my personal bias aside, I'd pick Trent, because I think it would mean so much to him, you know, as a Scouser, as a guy who's grown up. You saw how much it meant to him in the changing rooms after the game, you know, head in hand. He couldn't believe what he'd done in this game, but I don't think he understands the value we have and how important and how loved he is at this football club. And to do what he's doing at his age, if he could get that winning goal, just to see the expression on his face would be magic. The same with Jordan Henderson. These players that live and die for this football club, just for them to put the full stop on this season and say, I'm the man that did that, I'd say Origi for my own personal bias, but Hendo or Trent would mean the most to them and the most to the fans, I think. But great question to end it. Thank you very much for joining myself and Chris and Tom along the way for the Stat 11 prediction shows across the season. 38 of them done now. How nuts is that? Of course, with all the cup competitions and the Champions League stuff along the way. But it's been an absolute pleasure doing this show. We'll be back for one last time this season for the Champions League final. I cannot wait. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to Redmen TV, head on over to redmentv.com. It's £5 a month for your free subscription. You can see everything for Barca and your stuff for Madrid. And I'm sure once you get here, you'll realise why you want to stay. It's a great place to be. You've got a great community here at the Redmen TV. But like I say, like, subscribe, put your comments down below. I will be checking them as soon as this is published and I'm in the comments, because I always like to have a discussion with you guys. And enjoy the last game and enjoy Madrid. Walk on.